What's up, everyone? Made some huge progress on the tank and wanted to give a quick update. As you can see, I pretty much have my full prototype frame and gearbox and the whole vacuum canister setup. I also have this Raspberry Pi holder and I created this little holder for the motor controller. I also worked on my own Ryobi battery container and I plan on putting at least two batteries on the back of the tank. So one of the big changes that needs to happen is I need to make the tank about 2 inches wider. The back wheels actually run on a slider, and the bolt that goes through, it's kind of hard to get to. So I'm hoping that that's going to help. So that's going to be the big change from version 1 to the tear down to building to version 2. I already built the frame structure and it was as wide as I could go on my plate. The other main change that I need to make is there's not enough room between the top layer and the bottom layer for my hand to work and to screw down components. So I need about another inch. So what I'm thinking about doing is moving the frame to this height here and then just making some risers to bump it up an inch. And I think it'll be sturdy enough. If not, I'll have to reprint these drive shaft supports a bit higher. Other than that, I couldn't complain. I'm extremely happy with the progress I made. Let me show you some of my other scenes. This is one of my print bed scenes, and basically all I do is grab these and export as STL. And I just printed an army of nuts and bolts. This one here is where I'm kind of prototyping and working on the vacuum. I am doing some of the cap prototyping and structural prototyping in that tank scene, but when it comes down to some of these finer details, I'm doing it here. And then I'm just trying to keep my prints real simple. So you have a static fan that snaps into the motor base, and this here kind of supports the pin for the motor. So there's a bearing holder that snaps in there. So then this snaps through here, and then it all snaps together. So far, it's handling 5 volts like perfect. The 12 volts, I'm still a little cautious with. I think that the initial 12-volt start might be a little bit too much for full plastic. Well, that's about it for the blender and stuff. Let me go ahead and switch cameras and give you an update with the actual tank. So yeah, did a little bit more wiring and everything just to kind of see what I had going on. And as you can see, it's kind of it's stacked. And I really wanted to utilize this lower level, but I really can't fit my hand in there if I need to change anything. So raising that is a priority. So here's the longer frame support, and I really think that's going to help out quite a bit. Because all you need to do here is tighten up this bolt so that it doesn't slide forward. It keeps the tracks tight. So right now I have the whole positive negative bus, and I have the two 12 volt to 5 volt transformers. One's running the Raspberry Pi, the other one's running the vacuum right now. The other thing I just got is this relay box, and this thing was only like 20 bucks. I couldn't believe it. It's another reason why I widened up the frame, because this thing, I'm not sure where I'm going to put it, but it's just as wide as the tank. So, and it's big. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, where I'm going to put it, but I'm going to use the relays to run the fan. And I've made everything really modular. So I was thinking that here's my motor mount with the fan, and you can see like it fits perfect. Like I got this down. I'm really happy with it. And just think if you had one on each side here, boom boom boom, like a weed whacker, and it could be like a lawnmower weed whacker. So creating things modular um, rather than static, so that was really cool. And so I made a modular cap that you can use for other things. And then you have different types of bases you could use. I have some straight bases that I printed. I printed these for this width, and I'll have to print white, ones that go wider when I make the tank wider, because everything will be wider at that point. So I might also have to support the motors a bit, but this this whole setup supports the motors because it's screwing to the top of the motor, the gearbox. So this is what I'm also kind of focusing on, is making sure everything is modular. It kind of snaps into place, and then when you create modular geometry, some things just kind of work like magic, like these bus lined up with my frame supports. This transformer pretty much lined up with my frame supports. You've seen I had that transformer mounted on the frame before sideways, and it matches with that also. So there's all kinds of cool things when you really focus on a modular geometry. Then the last thing I need to work on is like making sure my treads and my wheel, um, it's it, it's perfect. I've got it down to perfection, but when it really torques out, these treads come off. So I think I gotta give it a little more support. I don't think just the backwards force is enough for all this plastic. Maybe printing the treads a little lighter plastic as I go, but there's a lot here. And really, this was like version 1. Like, will it work? Let's print it out. Will it work? And it did. So that's the full update. I'm going to tear down the tank and rewire it, print up some new frame parts, and get everything to the next level. And then I'll start working on making that vacuum a little bit better. Thanks again for watching. Hope you guys had a great day.